Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we've heard the news that Tyler Lockett has re-signed with the Seattle Seahawks. It's a great deal for both sides. Lockett gets his money that he deserves. Seattle Seahawks get to keep a main part of their offense. I'm going to dive into the film study as to why he's so good for their offense, what he really does. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like, subscribe button. It really helps the channel to grow and push the video to other viewers, especially other Seahawks fans. And drop me a comment, let me know what you think about the video. Let's have a discussion down about Tyler Lockett. I love talking with you guys in the comments. Let's get into it. So on this play, the Seahawks are coming out of a trips open right formation, and Lockett is to the bottom of the screen here. And it's quite a simple concept. All they're going to do is run a flood to the boundary side of the field. And Lockett's got a very simple task on this play. He's just running as deep as he can, clearing out the space for those digs and, the underneath drags to create space. But you can see here, he gets jammed a lot at the line of scrimmage. This is really good physicality from the DB. He gets right up in his face. Lockett isn't the biggest of wide receivers, but the way that Lockett gets off this block and then gets up to top speed is really good. And because the way that the play is schemed, you've got the running back leaking out into the flat. So the cornerback has half a step of hesitation. He doesn't know whether to go to the running back or carry the go route from Tyler Lockett here. So that's all that Tyler Lockett needs. He's really, really fast. He can run these deep routes really well. In fact, it's interesting the Seahawks used him on a lot shorter routes. His average route was 9.6 yards in 2020 compared to well into the double digits in previous seasons. But he does have this blazing speed to go down the field and be a true deep threat when needed. And you can see this is a great go route once he's got off that jammed press. He gets up to top speed really easily. You could be called for defensive pass interference when he runs through both of those two defenders at the same time. But he doesn't let it affect him. He carries on through the route. He fights through it the whole way. And then the way that he tracks that ball to bring it in with his left hand, one-handed, is absolutely insane. It's just great ball tracking, great fight to carry on through the whole route and never give up, and he makes it a great play downfield. Now this next play from the goal line is from the solo right formation, and you've got Lockett to the top of the screen. All you're going to see here is a simple double line concept from the bottom. So these two guys are going to run drags or slants, and then Tyler Lockett is going to beat his man in man coverage to the bottom of the screen. And you can quite clearly see they're in man coverage here. So what Tyler Lockett does really, really well is he holds that defender for as long as he can. All that means is that he's just going to keep bringing his feet closer and closer to the defender until he reaches a point where he's just out of reach of the defender, so he can't jam him at the line of scrimmage, but he's close enough to have completely held him and try and get the defenders as much on his heels as possible. And you can see he reaches that point really well. He gets right on top of the defender so that it's really hard for the defender to break left or right with him, and then he comes all the way across the field to the bottom really, really nicely, and with his speed it's really hard to keep up with him. It's a great release, and that's exactly what wins this route here. Yes, he's got good speed, but it's that initial release that creates that space for him to go and win the rep and go and get the touchdown. Next play, I quite like the concept. It's quite peculiar, but it really does work. So this play is going to be zebra gun, double wing left, H right. And it's really weird for the reason that you've got the running back set up almost in a tight end position, flexed out to the right hand side, and you've got Tyler Lockett starting in the backfield. So all he's going to do is he's going to motion out to the right and make it an empty trips right look. And then what you're going to see is actually a really nice switch concept between him and Metcalf to the top of the screen, which is really nice because it works well against man, against zone. And you're going to see the defenders actually do a pretty good job of jamming these two routes, but Tyler Lockett holds his feet really well. He doesn't overrun it because otherwise he would go right into Metcalf. The aim of this route combo is that DK is going to cut towards the middle of the field, hopefully drawing attention, and that Tyler Lockett is going to run almost a corner route behind him and hopefully find a big open space. And then the aim of Carson here is just to run to the flat, try and draw that flat defender down, and then hopefully that space between Metcalf and between Carson will create a nice wide open space for Lockett to just sit against the sideline and run that corner route perfectly. As I said, you can see here they sort of bump DK's route and the timing sort of gets a little bit off, so Tyler Lockett has to slow down and stop his feet, but he does a really good job of getting back up to a nice speed, sitting in a really good hole, and for a great completion downfield. Great identification that the route combo didn't exactly work out perfectly, but adjusted well. Great completion, as I said. So again, this play comes from Tiger solo right. So you've got the two tight ends in the game, the two wide receivers. And this play is just simply a crossing concept. You've got two routes out on the field. The running back's just going to play action and sort of leak out into the flat, but it's simply two crossing routes, and the Dolphins are playing man coverage. And you'd think, surely not a lot's going to come open on this play. And, well, you watch Tyler Lockett here, and Tyler Lockett creates separation really well during this route. So you can see the cornerback sort of playing stack techniques. That means he's staying over the top, backing off with Tyler Tyler Lockett. He's not sort of being aggressive and jamming him. He's just backing off, waiting to see what Tyler Lockett does. And Lockett identifies this really well. If he's jammed up at the line of scrimmage, he's got to make his move really quickly, get to the inside or outside. But he knows, because this DB is playing stack technique, he's got time to do whatever he wants to win the route. So you can see here, he comes inside to start, but then you can see, because of the stack technique, the DB is just going to accelerate, make a play on the crosser. He does a really nice release to the inside, and then he just gives him a little stutter step, and this stutter step puts, you know, a little bit of doubt in the DB's mind. Is he going to break outside? Is he going to break downfield? And it's just this split second that he used for this stutter step that put that doubt in the DB's mind, and then he backed his speed and his ability to create separation to then run that crossing route. And you can see he absolutely blazed him, created great separation, and it's an easy throw for Russ to make in the end. Okay, now this play is Tiger Snug double wing right. And again, Tyler Lockett is by himself on an island at the top of the screen, one-on-one with the DB. And instead of a really slow release this time, getting right on top of the DB to be able to make his move, I think a lot of the time they do self-scout. You know, there's a lot of self-film study that goes on, and you know, they don't want to do the same release every single time, especially when you get down to the goal line situation where you've not got a lot of room to be working with. So I think what Tyler Lockett's probably looking at himself here is, yes, I've already used this slow release quite a lot of times when I'm in this situation. What can I do to mix it up? So here, he just does a basic release. He takes one step, but does really nice to keep his hips square so that the DB can't turn in or out with him. Takes one step, really nice and square, and then bam, he comes off that right leg, plants it in the ground, almost like a dead leg, and sprints inside on that drag route, one-on-one. There is only one winner of this race. Tyler Lockett's created 1 to 2 yards of separation, you know, right at the top of the route almost, and from there you're always playing catch up, trying to catch up to Tyler Lockett. And like I said, it almost looks like a carbon copy of the first route that he did like this near the goal line, but it's a very, very different release, and it's perfect self-scout. As I mentioned, you have to keep mixing it up. I talked about it in my Justin Jefferson video. You have to self-scout, you have to change week on week, because there's a lot of time and effort gone into scouting the opposition, so they're going to know your tendencies, what you like to do in this situation. So it's great from Tyler Lockett to be able to adjust. Okay, so we've looked at his releases, how well he gets downfield. The last thing that I wanted to look at was, you know, how well he gets to the first down marker. You know, we haven't really looked at it so far, but he is really elusive. He's got some really good feet, and he's the master of, you know, just getting to the first down line, keeping the chains moving. And I think every NFL team could do with someone like this. Someone who almost always finds themselves in space, whether it's deep down the field, underneath, and, you know, because of the speed that he's got and this elusiveness, he can turn the ball upfield really nicely, and as I mentioned, get to that first down marker. And when you've got someone on your team that's got the ability to just keep churning out first down after first down, it just makes drives even longer, makes your possession time longer, and it makes it a lot harder for the opposition to turn you over. So for example, again, he's in man coverage again on this route, just runs a simple underneath route, catches the ball, he's got loads of separation already, and he can see that that DB is hauling ass to get over to tackle him. So all he does, he slams on the brakes. He's, as I mentioned, really elusive, slams on the brakes, cuts inside really well, and turns it upfield for a first down. Perfect awareness of, you know, the DB being behind him and having to catch up to him really quickly. This next example was so impressive. He was sat underneath the linebacker zones. I think Russ probably could hit him the first time, to be honest, but he was sat there waiting for the ball with his arms up. Russ didn't see him or didn't fancy throwing it to him, waited for something else to come open. In the end, he got flushed out the pocket. Really good awareness from Tyler Lockett here to move towards the sideline, you know, to get away from the linebackers instead of sitting there and waiting for one of them to swallow him up. Followed Russell Wilson across the field, catches the ball, and he knows that those DBs and linebackers are tracking him across towards the sideline. So again, catches the ball, slams on the brakes. He's got a really nice low center of gravity, slams on the brakes, and just turns it upfield straight away. Another first down. So now that I've sort of explored all the different aspects of his game, I think we can start to build a bigger picture of why Tyler Lockett is so much of an asset for the Seattle Seahawks. You know, he brings that deep threat because of his blazing speed and elusiveness and the way that he's really smooth out of his routes and releases, but also he's that guy that can come underneath, turn the ball upfield really quickly, keep the first downs churning out, and keep a drive going, which is really important. Seahawks have had some nice possession times over the last season or so, and a lot of this is due to Tyler Lockett and that ability to, you know, keep pushing drives down the field because of the first downs. So I've been really impressed with Tyler Lockett. I think he is a massive asset to the Seattle Seahawks, and I am, you know, 100% in agreement as to why they've re-signed him. Thanks for making it to this stage of the video. If you have enjoyed, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Really helps the channel to grow. I appreciate it so much. And drop me a comment, let me know what you think about the video. Like I said, let's have a discussion about Tyler Lockett in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.